What's up YouTube? This is a video that I've been putting off for way too long now, and so I said, you know what, the heck with it. I'm just gonna dive right into it, and hopefully this video turns out okay. If it does and you see this will most likely be my first YouTube video. Hopefully this actually gets edited and published. Right here in front of me is my '03 Ford Mustang SVT Terminator Cobra in the red fire color. What's interesting and special about this particular Terminator is that not only is it nice overall, I also got it very cheap. Today is actually October 26th, 2024, and I bought this on July 4th from someone that used to be a professional baseball player. I got this for probably 50% off the market value. You could actually consider this my cheap Terminator project. And the reason why it's a Terminator project and the reason I got it cheap is because it actually needs a bit of work. So the type of work that it needs is actually under the hood. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and do a walk around looking at the exterior and kind of explaining some stuff that's been done to the car and basically the condition of the car. Here in a couple minutes, we'll talk about the motor and a little bit about the upgrades and what's going on with this car. As you can tell, the paint looks overall pretty nice. And the reason for that is because this was actually recently repainted, maybe within the past couple of years. Of course, it's pretty dusty right now because it's been sitting in my garage, and basically the way I bought it is pretty much how it sits. It was just sitting in the guy's garage. We brought it here from Texas. The only thing I did was I washed it once before I put it in the garage, and then I haven't washed it since. So this is about 3 months worth of dust. Moving on to the exterior. There is a couple small things, such as a little bit of this paint overspray that's on the trim piece. If you look around, you'll see a little bit of paint along the weather stripping. Just signs that it's been repainted at one point, which in this case was recently. I'm actually okay with that because I'd rather have a repaint in this condition than to have it the way it used to be. It had a bunch of clear coat I believe was peeling or bubbling up, so I like this much better and I can actually work with this. It has upgraded FR500 wheels. I don't know if these are replicas or the real deal. I'm not actually a big fan of these wheels, but it's always nice to have upgraded wheels. I'll probably end up selling these and getting the wheels that I actually like. It is not a bad combo having black FR500 wheels and the red fire color. A little bit of bubbling on the back window tint. The tail lights show a little bit of aging. Of course, the infamous third brake light being cracked. A lot of the parts were in this trunk when I bought it. It's a little bit dirty in there. There is no spare wheel under here because they have like a little milk carton or some kind of carton there to hold the little trunk liner up. The spare parts that were in the trunk and inside the car are actually over here along the wall. So I'll go over that here in a little bit. Here is the passenger side, which doesn't look too bad. Here along the antenna, you can see a little bit of the overspray, which is pretty much what I'm getting at. I'll have a little bit of body work to do to it to make it look kind of decent. As far as the interior, it does have a little bit of wear. You can see right here where this door panel is kind of ripped. But we have some good news when I show you the spare parts here in a little bit. But yeah, here's what it looks like inside. It is pretty dusty. I haven't even cleaned anything in here yet. The dash doesn't look too bad. You'll see some dust along the rear seats, and then there are a couple little stains. I'm sure I can remove that. Overall, it's pretty clean in here. It's not too bad. The condition of the passenger seat is not too bad. Let's see if I can reach over here. The condition of the driver's seat, it's also pretty good. I mean, it has your usual wear and tear, but that can actually be fixed up. At least it's not completely torn through. We had to have it reupholstered. I can actually fill that in a little bit and put a dye on it, kind of like Chris Sullivan did with his Terminator Cobra, the Sonic Blue one that he just recently finished and restored and sold. Along this door panel, you can see this plastic is cracked, but these are really cheap. You can get these from the junkyard or on eBay. I like to get them from the junkyard though because I'd rather have OEM. Let me just go ahead and walk around to the other side. It's nice it has a little Terminator Cobra floor mats. All right, so on to the driver's side. Door panel doesn't look too bad. Something that was mentioned in the ad was that it doesn't have speakers for some reason. The previous owner, not the owner I bought this car from, but the one before them, they removed the speakers for some odd reason. So that's something I'm gonna have to install, but no, that's no big deal. I do like the fact that it comes with the factory CD player, so that's cool. And it does have an aftermarket shifter, I believe MGW, from when I took a look underneath that boot and asked a fellow Cobra within one of the Terminator groups groups what type of shifter it was. But yeah, overall it's pretty clean Cobra. Let me go ahead and pop the hood. And here's where we're gonna really go over everything that pertains to the mods of the car and then the problems with the car. I have a little bit of trouble with this prop, which you can even see overspray on the prop. Here is the motor setup, the way I bought it, and you can tell it has billow flow red pulleys, has a smaller 293 upper pulley, has the upgraded coolant tanks for the coolant system of the motor, and then also the intercooler system as well. He just installed a new battery, has a JLT cold air intake, which looks to me that they installed that backwards because I think JLT should be the other way around. It does have a cold air intake. It looks to be a factory inlet and throttle body, and as far as I know the supercharger is not ported, and those are the stock injectors. I will say this though, the previous owner said that the heads have been worked on this car, and when I looked at the old paperwork, the heads had problems in the past, and that's the reason why the heads had to have some work done. I don't know if this is true or not, I haven't verified, but I was told that these heads are ported. If the heads are ported, that's really good news because I should be able to make a good amount more power with ported heads as opposed to non-ported heads. So that's actually good. I do like this Terminator radiator cover. I like just the way this looks. The only bad thing is there isn't really a spot for the hood prop, so that kind of sucks. But I mean, I like it overall. It's got smoked headlights. Yeah, I need to go ahead and tell you what's wrong with the motor. So what's wrong with the motor is one of the lifters is stuck, is what the previous owner told me, but I haven't actually took the valve cover off and verified if it's stuck or not. It is on this side, and I'll try to take a video, not right now because it's early in the morning, but I'll try to take a video of the stuck lifter because it's a tapping sound and it's almost like a knock. So you can tell something is going on right here. I'm hoping that the bottom half of the motor is not hurt. The only way I'm going to be able to verify that is to do a compression test, put a camera in the cylinders, and just make sure everything looks good to go. If I'm lucky, I just need to replace the lifter. If I'm not so lucky, I'll have to remove the whole head and have it worked on. And if I'm just in bad luck, I'll have to take the whole motor out because the bottom end of the engine could be hurt. But we won't know for sure until we start troubleshooting and digging into this car. But that's going to be the main part of the project, is fixing this motor to be 100% again. So that's what's going on with the motor. Cool thing is this car did come with the upgrades I just mentioned. There's a couple more upgrades. It does have Mac off-road mid-pipes, and then it does have a MagnaFlow 2.5-inch catback exhaust. There is a little bit of surface rust under here, nothing crazy, nothing structural. It did come from up north for a little while. I think it was in Ohio for a bit. I did take a look underneath before I bought it, and it didn't really have anything that was concerning me, but I will have to do a little bit of rust repair, just surface rust it is. It does have these welded subframe connectors, I believe, which is kind of nice. I don't have to worry about doing that myself, because if you do those professionally, you have to pretty much remove the carpet, have them welded, and then reinstall the carpet. It's a proper way to do it so you don't burn through the carpet. So anyway, that's just a couple upgrades underneath the car. It is lowered on H&R race springs, what I was told. There's the factory bill stains. Actually, I think the bill stains have been upgraded as well. The brakes have been upgraded also. Let me look at the back. There's the H&R race springs. You can see them in there. And the Toyo tires, I think they're kind of old. These are Toyo Torque tires. They're not too bad, but there's definitely better tires out there. A little bit of overspray in there, as you can see. As far as I know, I believe that heat exchanger, I believe that's in stock. Yeah, that looks to be stock. Those are the main mods that I know of. Cool thing is, it did come with some upgraded parts. It has some replacement door panels. They actually look black from a distance. When you come up close, it's actually dark gray, which is the color of the interior. It's nice that I have door panels because I know on the passenger side there was a rip in the corner. I don't have to worry about buying these. I don't know if these are the same as a V6 Mustang or a GT. I'm not sure. Someone can tell me in the comments if they are or not. But regardless, it's still nice to have a nice clean set of door panels as a spare that I can swap over. Maybe I can sell mine. Came with an extra set of heads. I don't know if he's going to have these built and then swap the heads over. He included these heads with the sale of the car. If these heads that are currently installed in the motor are actually ported and polished, I definitely do not want to get rid of these heads because it's not cheap to port a set of heads, especially professionally. I won't know until I stick a camera in there or take the valve cover off or do something. I won't know until I really start digging in whether or not these heads are actually ported, but I should be able to compare them to these heads and find out for sure. Came with some paperwork. I won't really go into that, but has some receipts. The SVT certificate is in here. I don't want to flip it over because it has the previous owner's name on it, but it's in here. There's this random calendar he included. There's an extra one of these for the door. There's some gaskets, it looks like, for the valve covers. Looks to be some grommets for the valve covers. I think because he was getting ready to go ahead and pull the valve cover and see what was going on with the stuck lifter. That's pretty much everything in here. As far as in here, this goes to one of the door panels. It's padding for the back. I'll just throw it in here. This is timing cover gasket. I think the timing cover is leaking a little bit. Here's a column gauge mount. It goes on top of the steering wheel column. Here's an oil filter. Could use that. I don't know. This is kind of confusing when I saw this, but these are TR8 IXs. If I'm not mistaken, TR6s is the usual go-to when you have light to moderate boost, and then TR7s is where you want to go to when you're getting up in the higher boost range. If that's the case with TR7s, which I have run on my other Terminator, TR8s must be for really high boost, which doesn't make any sense because this car only has an upper pulley and that's it. So it should only be seeing 12-13 pounds of boost with a 293 upper, I believe. I don't know what spark plugs are on the motor currently, but I think it's very interesting that we have TR8 IXs. These are not cheap spark plugs, by the way. I don't know, it's very, very weird that there's TR8s in here. That has me questioning a lot. Maybe he was getting ready for a big Whipple or something and then just didn't go through with it. I guess that would make sense because I forgot to mention, dang, someone with a loud bike. I forgot to mention that the transmission does have an upgraded McLeod RST clutch. Those are not cheap, and it also has the 26 spline upgraded input shaft. So I think the previous owner was actually getting ready for a big blower swap, but then of course it had issues. Also, this car used to have a T56 Magnum transmission, but I took a look shortly after I bought the car to see if the Magnum was still with the car. And apparently one of the previous owners before him, because he actually bought the car twice. He bought the car 10 years ago, sold it, bought it back, and then sold it to me. So a little bit of an interesting story. It did used to have a T56 Magnum, and it was sold, unfortunately, by one of the previous owners. I guess they wanted to make some money off of it, and they put a regular T56 within this car. So I have no idea what kind of condition this T56 is in as far as mileage or anything like that. As far as the mileage of this car and the amount I bought it for, I'm going to keep that to myself until maybe I gain some subscribers. Then I will share a lot of these details with the car. Coming back over here, there's a couple other things that it came with. It came with this decent Pro Comp boost gauge. So that's pretty cool that it came with that. Came with a couple of cables. I believe these are brake cables for the rear. It has a water pump. I don't know why it has a water pump. It has extra thing of oil. So this is a problem. He used 5W20, which is not recommended to use in these cars because 5W20 is too thin of an oil. Should have been 5W30, but regardless, I'm not saying this caused the lifter problem, but definitely too thin of an oil. I learned that the hard way with my Ford SVT Lightning. Came with a little bit of extra paint from the paint job. Came with an extra crank pulley. This is the OEM crank pulley. He actually has an upgraded crank pulley on the bottom of the motor, but this is actually just a stock size pulley, but it is an upgraded lower pulley setup. I will be running a 4-pound lower on this car if I get this car running well. I think this is about it as far as what is going on with the car. There is one other problem with the car. It was told to me that the car also shuts off after hitting boost when it's warmed up. And so I don't know what's going on with that. I know that when I was testing out the intercooler pump with the previous owner, I didn't see the pump actually pumping fluid through. I don't know if maybe the engine is getting too hot because the intercooler pump may be not working and causing it to go into kind of limp mode where it's shutting off after hitting boost. I don't know, but that is another problem. But the main problem is the lifter. That's the mechanical problem. And then the other problem is shutting off after hitting boost. Overall, I got a really good deal on this Terminator Cobra. And in the next upcoming videos, I am going to do a compression test after fully warming up the engine and make sure that the short block is healthy. Hopefully it is. We'll go ahead and put a camera within all the cylinders, check out the piston tops. If everything looks good, then we'll probably start working on removing this valve cover and trying to figure out what's going on with that stuck lifter. So if you like what you see and you want to see more SVT type content, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I am planning to make several more videos. This is my second Terminator Cobra. I have a different Terminator Cobra, but I haven't really videoed anything on that. Plus I bought it with everything working. It didn't have any big issues, just a little bit of small stuff here and there. I also have a black SVT Lightning that's currently stock, and I have a bunch of parts that I bought for it that I'd like to install, and I plan on video recording that as well. So if you want to see any of that, please consider subscribing to my channel, and hope to see you in the next video. Feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever. Catch you in the next video.